It has always been my firm belief that one must leave the mainsail of their creativity high and wide on the ocean of this somewhat meaningless existence. And during this solstice, I have pledged my passions to the cultivation and accumulation of the Anthias hyacinth plant, also known as the sunflower. Sunflower was a common crop among Native American tribes. In Arizona and New Mexico, evidence shows that this plant was cultivated even prior to the corn. The sunflower is used in many ways throughout different tribes. Some used the oil for cooking, some pounded it into a mash for food, some added it with other vegetables for flavor, some used it as medicine. Our friend the sunflower was brought to Europe by the Spanish in the 1500s. Its popularity spread widely throughout the continent for its aesthetic value, but is also being used as a snack as well as an oil itself. The English in the 1700s created a patent for a machine to oil the sunflower seed. But the true cultivation and exploitation comes from the Russians. Much credit was given to Peter the Great for introducing it to the Russian people. The Russian Orthodox Church has banned many oils for cooking during the Lenten season, but since the sunflower was not native to there, it was not banned. It became quite popular. Although you will often still see the original American sunflower, the Russians selectively bred the flower into what it became known as today. That is the Russian Mammoth Sunflower. Which is exactly what this guy is. You'll know they're ready to be harvested when they droop over and look all dead like this. It serves kind of two purposes, I've noticed from my observation, that it doesn't look as pretty when they hang down like that, but it also keeps the birds from being able to get the seeds. They can peck around the top, but they can't go upside down. Same with the squirrels. They climb on top, and it drags the whole plant down. They fall off, the plant goes back up. I don't know if it's an intentional adaptation, but it works quite well. I've raised these flowers from a seed. I put them in the earth and I've watched them grow. And harvest time is their death. So I want that death to be as quick and as painless as possible. Also, it prevents blood from getting in the meat, affecting the flavor of the game. Easy, girl. That's a clean kill. I try to do as much of the prep work as I can outside. That's rubbing all this little stuff off here, ripping all this stuff off. But be careful because you'll take the seeds off. I'm by no means an expert on preparing these to be cooked, but I've done about 4 or 5 times, and the first few were not very good, but I'll show you my system so far. First I have a colander, and a little pan here for the extra meaty bits. You just grab a hold of it and you can just pull a chunk off like that. Alright, I got most of the seeds out. I just take my extra bits and I throw them here in this pan, and these will go nicely into the compost. I have a lot of waste with this operation because seeds kind of go everywhere, but you can see that's quite a bit for just one flower. Then I take and I rinse them off to get all the little dirt and skiblets out of there. I've tried these a few different ways to cook these different styles, but the way I found most successful is to make a brine and then soak them for a while. Brine is basically just a fancy word for salt water, so I just put a whole bunch of salt in there. I got about that much salt in there. And then just water. and more salt. Buenos dias, bitches. Alright, so I'm taking got my sunflowery briny bit back into the old colander. This is kind of where your boy screwed up a couple times. I gotta lay them all out first after I'd soaked them all night, and then put them in the sun, let them dry out a little bit. I would say at about 15% loss, and that's still a big chunk of sunflower seeds from one flower. Sit that outside. So I'll just drop these dudes out here in the sun for a couple hours, let them dry out. I'm gonna go ahead and set my oven till about 225. I'm gonna put my timer at an hour, 15 minutes. We'll go an hour 25 because we gotta let the temperature get preheated, so give me 10 minutes. Come on now. I don't really think you have to spray the pan because they're not gonna stick, but I do it anyway. And then slide them over. I'm going to go ahead and spray this pan too, and then slide about half of those back over. Sometimes, the first time I put it on too thick on the pan, so it didn't really, I don't think it got as crispy as I like them. Now even add more salt. I like salt. I don't know how much difference it makes, but I like to stagger them so the heat can travel around a little better. Well, that beeping can mean only one thing, folks. It's time to see how we did. Nice and crunchy. Listen. Really good. Sometimes I like to suck on them, get all the salt out of it. These are so crispy I can just crunch the whole shell. I'm not gonna lie, it's not even my best one yet. It's really, really good.